von Bismarck was one of the most successful men in all of history. He was given control over Prussia's foreign affairs, and he used that to unite Germany into what we know it today. In the process, he defeated both France and Austria with a combination of skill, luck, and just raw intelligence. By all accounts, he was a genius, and in Victoria 3, you can play his role. So to help you all live out your Bismarck roleplay dreams, I'll be explaining everything you need to know to form Germany in Victoria 3. We'll start with a super quick explanation of what Germany is in Victoria 3. In the most basic explanation possible, Germany is the union of all German peoples. If we want a simple image of this, all we need to do is come over to the culture tab on the left and look for all the German cultures up here and right here. If you want a more clear picture, we can hover over this Germany button right here, and that'll outline all of Germany for us. So now that we know what Germany is, how do we begin forming it? The first step is the most important, and that's just picking a country. In Victoria 3, any German nation can form Germany. However, some German nations are way easier to form Germany with than others. For the sake of ease, I've classified all the German nations in order of how easy they are to form Germany with. Prussia and Austria are the easiest ones to form Germany with, and that's who I recommend you play. Bavaria, Hanover, Saxony, Württemberg, and Baden are all still difficult to form Germany with, but it's still possible. However, every other German nation is almost impossible to unite Germany with. However, with good gameplay, it is possible. Before we really dive into the mechanics of how to form Germany, we need to look at one more thing, and that is the Journal tab. Here we can see two specific journal entries. We have the Schleswig-Holstein question and German national identity. We can ignore the Schleswig-Holstein question for right now. All we're worried about is German national identity. Until this journal entry is complete, there's no forming of Germany. So what needs to happen here? 75% of all German states need to have nationalism researched. This does not mean that you have to have nationalism, only that 75% of all the German states must have nationalism. This will complete on its own time, so don't worry about it. But until it's done, you cannot form Germany. Back on the Nation Formations tab, we can finally click on this Germany button that we hovered over before. This is the German Unification screen. The very first thing we must take note of is the unification candidates. These are the countries that are in the running to form Germany. By default, this is going to be Austria and Prussia, but any other German nation can become a unification candidate as long as it becomes a great power. Now, while Austria and Prussia are the default, that doesn't mean they will always be. If you are playing as these nations and you fall off to a major power, you will not be a unification candidate. The same thing applies to the AI, but they must fall below a major power. However, there is an exception. If the major power becomes a subject of another nation, they cannot be the unification candidate, and that includes being in a foreign market. The next thing we're going to look at is how support works. The flags you see here consist of all the German states. Any of these countries can either become the German unification candidate or support them. Whether a country supports a unification candidate or not is based on how much support they have. If there is only one unification candidate and that unification candidate has 55 support from a nation, they will support them as the unification candidate. If there are multiple unification candidates, one candidate must have 60 more support than another candidate in order to become supported. If none of this actually applies, the country will remain neutral and not support anybody. The actual support number itself is based on 3 factors: attitude, relationship, and country rank. I could not find the details on the wiki, so I gathered them myself. Here's a list of all the modifiers and what they do, so feel free to pause the video if you need to use this chart to help you. Now that you understand all the details of forming Germany, it's time to put them all together. If you are a unification candidate, you will have 3 options: the leadership play, the unification play, and form Germany. The leadership play will be unlocked once you research nationalism and will cause you to start a war against the other unification candidate. This will also cause all German nations to support their candidate in the war. The loser of the war must give up their candidate status and make way for the other unification candidate to unite Germany. There is something you need to know about this play though, and that has to do with the Schleswig-Holstein question from before. If the Schleswig-Holstein question has been answered and there is only one unification candidate left, they will annex all minor German states of their same primary culture. This means North German for Prussia and South German for Austria. All you must do to complete this event is to either liberate Schleswig or Holstein from Denmark. I know the description says something else, but trust me, it's wrong. The description is either incorrect right now or the event is bugged. The unification play is similar to the leadership play, however, it requires you to have pan-nationalism first and for there to only be one unification candidate. This will launch a massive war against any country holding German states. However, this will exclude anyone who used to be a unification candidate. This will also annex any German states that support you as the unification candidate. Be careful though. It's easy to miss, but you will launch a war against France when you do this play. So make sure you're ready for that. The final option is form Germany. When taken, this option will annex all German countries supporting you and turn you into Germany. However, However, this option is the hardest to be able to take as it requires you to have complete support from 23 German states. There are not enough minor German-controlled states to get this done. That means to get this done, you will have to go to war with either France, Denmark, or one of the unification candidates. Once you've done this, you will become Germany and be able to fill all of your weird alt history desires as you please. And with that, you now know how to form Germany in Victoria 3. If you want a step-by-step guide on how to do this, I will be coming out with that video next, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. Anyway, that's going to conclude this episode. I hope you all learned something, and I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.